Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everybody to the Joy Spot. I am so excited to be here with you guys today. For those of you who have followed the Joy Spot in the past, it's my show where I love to bring on the things that make me smile, that light me up, whether it's people, products, services, just things that really ignite my joy. So today is no different. In just a moment, I am going to bring on this amazing woman, but let me tell you a little bit about her first. So Meaghan B Murphy is the author of Your Fully Charged Life, a radically simple approach to having endless energy and filling every day with yay. She is an editor, an on-air personality, lifestyle and health expert, a home hack master, and certified trainer. Meaghan was recently named editor-in-chief of Women's Day magazine, which is the #1 selling magazine on the newsstands, where she was charged with re-energizing the brand across print and digital. And before that, she was the executive editor at Good Housekeeping. You can see Meaghan all over the media. She's a regular on Live with Kelly and Ryan, Today, The Dr. Oz Show, and so much more. And today, she is known for her high energy, upbeat personality and lifestyle, which she shares regularly all over Instagram with her 28,000 plus followers. And Meaghan is joined every single day with Team Murphy, which consists of her husband and her 3 kids. Please welcome to the Joy Spot, Miss Meaghan B Murphy.
Yay! Oh my gosh, I look so much cuter in all those fun pictures that you had. Now I'm wearing my son's gamer headset, so I look like a Fortnite pro.
Meaghan, you
Keep
look so
asking
cool.
me, did I have a victory royale?
So then, like, my opening boxing thing was great. Then Meaghan B Murphy. Thank you so much for being here today with us.
I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So we're going to, of course, talk today about your fully charged life, which I have Post-it notes everywhere, which is really funny because I rarely do Post-it notes. So I'm like, how do people actually find what they're looking for? Because there's tabs everywhere. So
my favorite thing in the world, by the way, is seeing people's books look like that. Like that is my joy, is seeing somebody mark up, highlight, and put tags in their book.
Well, then we're done here, folks. We have lit Meaghan up.
We're done. I'm fully charged.
That's it. So if you guys are watching here live with us today, say hello and be sure that you hit share because we are going to be spreading some good energy. Meaghan, the reason why I wanted to have you is, first of all, you said something. So I was able to meet Meaghan in a media mastermind that I was in, and she was a guest. And I know you mentioned actually while you were talking to us that you don't always remember a lot of the things that you say. And but you said something that was like, okay, I love this woman. And you talked about Light Bright. You mentioned the game, the Light Bright that we had as a kid, and just doing things in your life and lighting up the world. And I just knew immediately, I was like, I want to share more of you with everybody because the world needs more of you.
Aww.
And go ahead. You're gonna say.
I know, I love that. And I say that a lot. So I actually do remember saying that. That is sort of I think of the world as a light bright board. And I think it's all about putting in those little pieces and not necessarily knowing what picture you're trying to create, but understanding that there are all these little sparks that ultimately create beautiful pictures.
I love that. And another reason why, besides the light bright thing, that I loved what you're doing and this book is because upon reading it, like we have very similar backgrounds. And what I love, because it's so challenging for people to think that they can have this happy, joyful, optimistic, positive life when there are challenges in their life. And so you literally lay out moments and tactics and strategies and things that you can do. So we actually can change our life. So it's practical, it's emotional, it's science-based, it's amazing.
Hey, I'm so grateful. I love that you loved my book. That
I did. It was like a confirmation for my soul, and I mean that because I didn't know all the science behind it. I have just done all of the things and have turned my own life around, and I knew that it worked. But you literally wrote the guidebook for it, and so I was like, oh, I kind of wish jealously that I wrote it. But
well, sort of the interesting part about it was I lived most of this and then went back and said, why is that working? why did that work for me? And so, and once I know why, then I can share that with everyone else and figure out how it was working and why it was working. And so I dug into the science after living it. I used myself as a guinea pig for many, many years. I've been a service journalist for 25 years. And throughout my career, it was using those tips and tricks and strategies on myself and using the science on myself. And then, putting it in book form to be able to share it more clearly.
And that's what I love, because I think that there's a lot of people that think that optimism and positivity and joy is all very fluffy. At least in my experience, a lot of people don't take the work that I do seriously, because how could you actually be this happy, right? And I know you write about that in your book too, people not thinking that you're real. And so,
well, and I get that a lot. And I think a big piece of it for me is I train to live this way. And I think I'm very clear about it in the book. This is not who I'm not inherently happy. I'm not inherently a rainbow unicorn. I've trained to live with optimism and joy. And it was a long process for me, but because I've figured out the science behind it and the tips and tricks and strategies, it doesn't have to be that long of a process for anyone else. You don't have to go through the hard times I went through to get to this place. And I think that's the beauty of it.
I love that. And you actually talking about the hard times, and you actually used to call yourself grumpy, which I actually.
Yeah, I didn't call myself that. My family called me that.
Okay.
Yeah, they gave me the nickname Grumpy, and then the matching necklace. It was like a gold charm with Grumpy from the Seven Dwarfs. My kids don't really understand that I'm on a Facebook Live right now and are dancing around behind me playing hide and seek. But hey, Brooksy, mommy is on a live call right now. But yes, that was the nickname that my family had given to me. They had given me that necklace, and I wore it proudly because I really was the embodiment of negativity. In 5th grade, I wrote a play, and the play, I wrote my character, and my character was Neggy, and truly was the embodiment of negativity. So I came from sort of a dark place with lots of big emotions. Had some really tumultuous teen years, some really hard times that I talk about in the book, through hospitalizations and my best friend's suicide. There were some tough times. And so I inched through some of that with therapy. But what I really talk about in the book, and I think is really important to understand, is I did really solid work in therapy, and that was really helpful. But that taught me how to fix a problem. It didn't teach me how to be happy. And it wasn't until I discovered the field of positive psychology and strategies around positive psychology, where they really look at what's right with people and how to emulate what makes people flourish versus just fixing problems. And so I had fixed this problem. I was eating, I was functioning, but I wasn't happy. And it wasn't until I really flipped that switch and began to look at what makes people flourish and how to emulate those traits that I began to do happy.
And that's what I think is so inspiring about you in this book, is because you show people the transformation, and it's not just, that moment. And I really related to what you wrote in there, because you said it wasn't just one aha moment. It was a bunch of small moments, right? And consistent action, right? And doing that. And that was the transformation over time.
Well, and I think it's just in life, it's really just about creating positive momentum. So when you take one small positive action, it absolutely leads to another positive action. And those positive action steps begin to stack until ultimately you achieve a state of doing happy. But it's this buildup, right? It's not like, oh my God, I got to do this major life overhaul, and I'm going to do this one big enormous thing, and suddenly I'm going to be happy. It's no. There are little things you can choose to do every single day that will inch the happiness needle forward, will build upon each other. Like all the chapters in the sections of my book build upon each other. You can dive into one, or you can do them all. You'll have best results when you try more than one strategy, and allow it to build up.
And that's what I did. It was funny because when you wrote in the book about, you can either dive in or you can read it all in. I was like, all right, Shari, you're going all in. You are reading all of this. And I just wanted, for those of you who are watching, I know it seems like I'm like fangirling over Meaghan, and I'm a little stalkerish, creeperish, and which is totally cool. I'm fine with that. But the reason why is literally because, like I said, I've done most of what Meaghan has written about in this book, and I know that it works too, because I used to call myself, for those who know me, like the dark cloud. And I went from dark cloud to America's Joy Magnet, as you went from, Neggy you know, fully charged, you know, I mean, you are it. So it works. And I love that you wrote, I just want to read because it's great to hear your own words back too, I'm sure. But you said here, my approach, which I've been honing and practicing for nearly 2 decades, involves deliberately following a lot of really simple tips, strategies, and habits that power what I think of as this intangible energy and unique vitality. Every day, every hour, sometimes moment to moment, you consciously choose to act in a positive way or look for the positive in situations. And you said it's basically all based on that principle, and that it's not the secret to happiness, but it's your secret to happiness.
Exactly. And I think it's a happiness toolkit for everyone or anyone. And I think it's just understanding that, listen, this isn't a life makeover. It's not a life overhaul, but tomorrow could be more awesome. And there is some small positive action step that could inch you toward that. And that's really the crux of this. It is understanding that change is possible. And sometimes it just feels better. It makes it easier to get through hard times when you have these reserves of positive energy.
Yeah. And what I think, what I really related to in the book as well, that's super important, is that because toxic positivity is a real thing. Mm-hmm. And I did that for many years because I was really, you know, confused and really lost, and I really wanted to be happy. And it worked for a while until you started realizing that there's other stuff happening. And you touch about this in this so much in your book about acknowledging and you know, feeling all of your feelings. And when I speak about joy, that's what joy is to me. It's the acknowledgement, it's the feeling of all of our emotions, the whole gamut. So
exactly.
Yeah. So talk a
joy and pain, right? There is no joy without pain. I think sometimes you can't appreciate the joy until you've experienced or acknowledged the pain. And I think it's often important to sit with what sucks, to take that second, to take that pause. And you know what? This really hurts. This is really hard. I'm not okay right now. But then create momentum, take a positive action step forward so that you don't get stuck in the suck. That's the key. Don't get stuck in the suck. Acknowledge it, right? I mean, I'm a person who doesn't just look on the bright side. I look on all the sides. I just choose to live on the bright side. And that's the distinction. I mean, it's not ignoring the evils of the world or the hard times. It's giving yourself a toolkit to move through them with grit and grace.
Love that. I always say, like, you know, invite it in for a cup of tea, but don't pitch a tent there.
Yeah.
You know, so, love that. Yeah, it's because I used to do that. I'd be like, oh, let's sit. You can hang out here for a while and we can just, like, you know, mull over this and go, or we could just sit with it, talk with it a little bit and let it go.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's the key part. Sit with it. It is absolutely important to sit with it, to acknowledge it, to feel whatever it is you're feeling, anger, sadness, disappointment, jealousy, whatever that is in that moment, feel it, own it, experience it, but don't get stuck there.
Yes.
My kids are asking me if they can open this toy. Yes, you can open this toy, but can you bring it downstairs, please?
I love it. I love it. I only have 2 fur babies and I lock them out. So, which makes me sound like the mean mom. So pretty soon you might hear like scratching at the door.
Oh, I've been there too. I've been there too.
Yeah. With your kids, they're scratching.
No, my dog. So I have Dempsey Doodle too, my fur baby. Oh, yeah. Who often, if I lock a door, that seems like an invitation for him to come in immediately. What are you doing behind that door, Mom?
So, Meaghan, you talk about, so in your book, it's based around your 7 charges, all different, you know, I guess pillars. I don't know what you would call it, that really just be able to build us happy.
I mean, I call them like sort of your key areas of life, like the key areas where you might be drained and you might need to operate at full battery. It might be helpful to operate at full battery. So, you know, the take charge really gives, it's sort of like, it's a pep talk, and it's a way to really sort of understand how to use the book fully. But then we get into the positive charge. And the positive charge is all about mindset. I do a lot of cognitive reappraisal there and learning how to reframe what's lame, and sort of the basic tenets of positive psychology, the Perma theory of wellness. But that's really about retraining your brain to more automatically see the good. The health charge chapter is about, moving your body and protecting your sleep, and why those things are just so key and fundamental. We all need a movement habit. And I'm not saying you need to hit the gym 5 days of the week or run a marathon, but you need to move your body. Strong body, strong mind. And we talk about that. I talk about sleep training yourself the way you might sleep train a child, and why sleep is so key to happiness. The science is real. The work charge chapter is about finding fulfillment and purpose at work. And so if you can't change the what of your job, that paycheck is that paycheck. How do you change the way you function in that job? How do you focus differently on the who, the why, and the how of the job to find passion and purpose and to make the job work for you? So that's the work charge chapter. The recharge chapter is about resilience and grit and grace in the face of loss. And originally I was focusing on the loss of my father to pancreatic cancer and the loss of my best friend so tragically when I was 16. But as the world began to go through this global pandemic, I realized we were all in a state of global mourning and grief. And I address that and give you strategies, science-backed strategies, to pull yourself through some of those really desperate moments of despair. The extra charge chapter is super fun. That's about all the extras in life that have the power to recharge you, whether that's buying yourself flowers, because there is so much mood magic in fresh flowers. Harvard research confirms that having fresh flowers in the house can actually ease anxiety and boost your mood. Whether that's having a favorite color or dressing up to feel up. I talk about dopamine dressing and the power of our clothes to affect our moods. So there's lots of fun little quirky tips and strategies that are all science-based in that chapter. The love charge chapter, oh, that's one of my favorites. And that's about the relationships in your life. And that is not just your spouse or your kids or your mother-in-law, but the grocery store clerk, the UPS person. How you treat one person is how you need to treat all people, and that we have these sparks and the power to spark each other by virtue of how we navigate relationships in general. And I think that's all of them. I don't have did I hit them all? I wasn't counting.
You did. You definitely did. And each one, like, things stood out to me in them, and I just loved how you just made it like it's actually a skill set. It's really a toolkit, a guide for everybody, and where you can go, okay, I'm feeling I'm lacking in this area, or I need a little bit of this. You could just turn to that chapter. I know for me, like, I was really drawn into in the positive charge, the boss of your brain. I think that's such a challenge for so many of us, and learning. It was interesting. The day before that I bought your book, someone had sent a newsletter, and in it they talked about our brains being hardwired for negativity. And even with all the work that I do, I didn't actually know that. And they talked about, biologically, the predators. And then I read your book and you talked about it as well. And I was like, it was like mind blown, because so many people beat themselves up over the fact that they think.
Yeah, it's so interesting to me, because we have this negativity bias. We are absolutely primally programmed toward the negative. It was a survival mechanism back in the day. Our brains wanted to protect us from the bear, or the snake, or whatever the threat was in the caveman times. And we still have that holdover. And that's why it's so easy to default to the negative and to get stuck there, because it's how we are wired. We are absolutely wired. That doesn't mean you can't change that. You can practice positivity to change the neural pathways and to more easily prioritize positivity and travel a different path. But it's not your fault if you get stuck in the doom and gloom, because that's what our bodies and our brains want us to do.
And that's what's mind blowing, is because I really feel like it lets everybody off the hook to go, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. I actually did an interview on a news segment the other day, and I mentioned that to the anchor, and she was like, oh, so it's not me. It's right. I mean, it is you, but it's not you. It's not your fault.
No, and it's like, so treat yourself with a little bit of grace and understand, like, that is absolutely how you're wired, but is not how you have to live. Right. And the strategies are simple. And I say this the same way I brush my teeth every morning. and I don't really angst about it. I just brush my teeth. Happiness can become a habit. Prioritizing positivity can become a habit. You can change your neuroplasticity so that you more automatically gravitate toward the good. It just takes a teeny bit of work and a few different choices. And sometimes just an awareness that, like, yeah, that's how your brain is built, but that is not how your brain has to function.
And that's what I think is life-changing for people. And I remember specifically back in the day when I was like trying to find the good in stuff. And then before I know it, like, as you said, it just becomes a habit and that muscle becomes stronger. And now it's like, I just see the good, and my fiance and I are complete opposites, and he sees the bad and everything. So we'll walk down the street, he sees the garbage on the street, and I'm like, oh my God, look at the trees. And he's like, enough with the trees.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I silver line everything automatically now after
Mm-hmm.
living this way for so many
Yeah.
years, and it's just a nicer way to live, right? Like, one of my favorite new shows was that. Did you watch that? I can't think of the show. Oh my gosh, what was his name? I'm spacing on his name, but there was this really fun. He's the ultimate optimist. And now I can't think of the name, so forget it. This is how I heard the door open and then I had a brain fart, and now I can't think of the show.
That happens to me all the time, don't worry. So, but I'm going to read this part to you because it's part of the boss of your brain, and it made me smile, and it's so true. So it says, you can deliberately direct your brain to get on the yay bus, or even the it'll be okay bus, or you can let it take a backseat on the sad or sorry for yourself bus. You'll end up at the same place regardless of which bus you board, but you get to choose how the ride feels.
See, isn't that a good analogy? I'm proud of that analogy, because that is absolutely, like, we're all going. You're going to the same place. You get to determine what the ride feels like, right? You get to determine if that's a bumpy ride or if that is an all smiles, exciting, exhilarating ride.
Yeah,
It's
I used to think about it as the
absolutely a
elevator.
choice.
I just think about the
Yeah,
elevator and get in the elevator. Like, do I want to go up or do I want to go down? Like, I have
yeah,
a choice. And once you realize you have a choice, it's like mind blown too.
yeah.
So great. So great. So in the work charge, I loved because you talk about finding meaning in your work. I mean, in everything you do, but you also speak about, which by the way, during the pandemic, how much more did we end up appreciating people, like our essential workers and grocery store workers who probably
Yeah.
didn't put much meaning into their work before. And now, and
Yeah.
you mentioned that.
Well, I think one of the key indicators of job satisfaction is having a sense of purpose and finding meaning in your work. And I think that's what's so key. It's important for everyone to realize that their job has a purpose. And once you can figure out how you're helping others, how your job impacts others, what that purpose is, you will have an increase in job satisfaction. So if you're the barista and you sort of kind of realize that you providing that coffee in the morning is jumpstart somebody's day. You're there exactly what they needed first thing in the morning. Like, that's your purpose. You're brightening someone's day. You're giving them their caffeine jolt to get on with their day. It's easy for a teacher or a doctor or someone like that to understand
Mhm.
their purpose. I'm a teacher. I'm educating young minds. I'm a doctor. I'm saving lives. But every job has purpose. Every job has meaning. And the more you're able to connect to that for your job, the more job satisfaction you will experience.
And you also mentioned that even just finding meaning in your paycheck. I love that.
100%. So if you can't assign that meaning or that purpose to the paycheck could be it. Okay, this paycheck affords me the opportunity to have a comfortable bed, the lights on, heat, or this paycheck affords me the opportunity to be able to go out to dinner with my family on a Wednesday night, or it affords me to be able to take my kids to a baseball game, whatever it is. Understanding purpose is key. The purpose could just be the paycheck, but the purpose could be helping others. That from a statistical perspective, the researchers found that most job satisfaction comes from being able to really associate how you're helping others through your work. But again, and if neither of those things are working for you, then you find purpose and meaning outside of that. Are you able to volunteer? Are you able to coach a little league team? Are you able to show a kindness to a neighbor? How are
And
you?
that activates the feel good chemicals, the rewards that our brain is just
Exactly.
giving. So there's like
Exactly.
wins everywhere.
Yes, exactly.
And I love in the love charge. that we talk about the meaning, and connections in relationships. And I went out to Italy for summer, I just so to say, and it was so beautiful. Like I went to find myself and write a book and do all this stuff, but I spent 3 months by myself and I didn't speak the language. And I realized halfway through that how much I really need somebody to share and have these moments with, and to have the people to support and lean on. So talk a little more deeper into the love charge.
I think that's really, people need people. And if you look at the work of Martin Seligman, he talks about the Perma theory of wellness. And so the Perma theory of wellness is like the keys to happiness. So the P is positive emotions, the E is engagement, the R is relationships, right? And that is so key. Our relationships matter, but not just our core relationships, all of our relationships. And so connecting to others, being seen, being acknowledged, being heard, feeling a part of something is really what helps us flourish as individuals. And there has been a loneliness epidemic in this country, and then add a pandemic where many of us were quarantined alone for an entire year without other people to lean on and to be seen and heard by, and just understanding that people are the answer. Other people are the answer to all of life's problems, frankly, and we need them. And so how can we feel seen, heard, and connected?
It's so important. And I think that we all realize that, and that was the gift, the silver lining in the pandemic, is realizing, I think, just the connection with ourselves and tapping into ourselves, and then how much we really do need each other and value one another.
And that can be everything. Like I was saying this during the pandemic, I would sit on my front porch and wait for Anthony, the UPS man, just to exchange pleasantries, because I wanted that moment of connection. And all of those moments of connection are like little lightning bolts that recharge us. And I talk about this all the time. Like when you are, at the cash register, are you registering that other person's humanity? I say check in at checkout. If they're wearing a name tag, acknowledge them. People need to feel seen, and people need to feel heard, and people need to feel a part of something bigger than themselves. It's really all about creating community and making people feel kind of noticed and important and important.
Letting people feel seen, heard, right? Oprah always said, like, the most important things that, we need. So we're winding down, and I want first tell everybody how they can get your book, which you should, which in case I haven't been excited enough about it.
Yay. So Your Fully Charged Life is available wherever books are sold. It's for sale on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, you name it. I'm such a shop local kind of girl. So if you have a local bookstore, hit them up too. But Amazon seems to be where most people buy their books these days.
Awesome. And are you going to be going back to two bookstores to be able to do some signings? I know now that
it's sort of like I missed my launch window. The book came out in February. The paperback version comes out next February. So I think realistically, I'll probably do a book tour around that, and throw a big party and do some fun stuff around the paperback launch. Because now it's like summer and it's kind of winding down.
Meaghan, I published this in 2019 and I'm still taking advantage of the bookstore. So I just say, I think there's so much value.
I really miss. I would love to be able to interact with people in person and to sign books. I haven't gotten to do any of that, so that is kind of exciting.
We'll write.
I love it. Yay! Thank you.
Let me ask you these last two questions.
Sure.
That are, what is your biggest yay?
Oh my gosh. Well, I don't think big, I think small. So my yays are tiny. Every day. I just got my second COVID vaccine. So my yay is I'm going to be able to go maskless at my favorite workout in 2 weeks. So that is a major yay. And that's the yay I'm hanging on right now.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Because it is about the simple and it is about the small, like we said.
It is. I think small. And that has a big impact.
Okay. And then my last question that I like to ask is, if you had 30 seconds and you had a microphone and the entire world is listening, what is a message that you would want to share with everyone?
I think tomorrow could be more awesome. And there's probably one simple tip, trick, tool, or strategy in my book that will get you there.
Awesome. In the words of you, I would love to tell you and everybody out there to have the best day ever.
Yay!
Thank you so much for hanging out with me
Thank
today.
you. Oh my gosh, that was fun.
That was fun. Let's talk to you soon. Everybody go grab your book.